And I want to tell you that I have a gay son. That doesn't mean I love him any less than I love my two daughters. And they love their brother as much as they love each other. Now my son says that God made him that way. And he's fought it all his life. He's been beat up. He's been hit. He's been done everything to. He's on drugs. He's on alcoholism. But he has hopefully accomplished getting away from that. For 8 years now, he's been free of drugs, free of alcoholism, and he is very active in his church. He is in a gay church in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and if you've ever been there, it's bigger than this whole building, and it's full of men worshiping God. There's nothing said about their love for each other or how they console themselves with each other. But you have to know where I'm coming from when I do this. And as a very conservative person, I didn't like my son to begin with when I found that out. But I went to the Lord in prayer, and the Lord said to me, as he has said to me in a lot of things. For example, he said to me this afternoon, why are they having this meeting today about the gay-straight alliance, and they didn't have it about the Fellowship of Christian Athletes? You didn't say whether we should have that in a meeting such as this. You went ahead and approved it. And nobody objected to it. And yet you didn't have a forum on it. So why did you have a forum on it? Because I believe some people decided that that's what they had to do to create confusion or chaos. And I don't believe that's what God intends. I believe that God intends for us to love each other and to support each other and do everything we can to help each other. Now, you can say I'm biased, and I am biased. But I'm a very conservative person. For example, it bothers me when I go to the Fifth Avenue Baptist Church and I see kids come in shorts way up to almost their rear end, and they have these jeans on that got holes in them. That bothers me. But my daughter, who teaches at Radford University, says, Dad, they're there. That's all you got to worry about. God will speak to them. And that's what I believe happens. I can put up with that. And they sing some songs I don't understand. But as long as they sing Amazing Grace, How Sweet the Sound once in a while, that'll be all right with me. Because I know that's what my God is doing. He's providing grace to all of us. Now, there's been some comment about Baptist doctrine. Baptist doctrine allows you and me to contact the Lord directly, and we don't have to go through pastor over here or the sister over here to find out what we believe. We get our direction from God. I talked to David Carrico today, and he confirmed that Baptist policy is that each church decides its own. And we're a church here. We're a group of people here. Now, you heard that some of the contributions wouldn't come to the school if we allow this group. All this group wants to do is to meet. Have a place to meet. They're not inviting all of you to come. That's my understanding anyway. I might go if they invite me, but it doesn't bother me. Because I have a son that's that way. Now, my son has AIDS. He's dying. But God has kept him alive for some reason. I don't know what the reason is. I've been asking my son to try to find out what the reason is. The people of Harvard are testing his blood because all of his friends are dead. But he is 48 years old. And God has blessed some way there. Now you can all say that God didn't make them that way. They made themselves that way. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. They wouldn't choose that lifestyle. Most people would not choose that lifestyle. I wouldn't choose it. I have known a lot of gays because I have studied this since my son became a gay. Or since I've known about his becoming a gay. He's been a gay all his life. I wanted to put it aside when I walked in and found him and another guy in a room in my house. But I didn't. I got down on my knees and prayed, and God said, he's your son. I sent my son into the world to save the world, and my son died on the cross. And I can tell you right now, that my son, I believe, is serving God with what he's doing. He spends a lot of time in the hospital rocking little AIDS babies. Nobody comes to rock them, and they need the tender, loving care. But he says he goes and he rocks these babies, and they're calm. Well, I don't know what the committee will do, but we have a process. And the process is that the committee makes the decision. And it's not voted on by anybody else. It's not taken to the board of directors or the trustees. It's done right here at this school. And I had no influence over the committee. And I will only say to them, as I've said to you, what's on my heart. I believe that God says, treat your fellow man as I would treat you. And that applies to everybody. It applies to everybody. You know, there are a lot of people in my life that I've had a hard time living with, but when I get down on my knees and pray for them, God allows that to come about. And all I would ask you to do is to get down on your knees and pray and say, well, they didn't do it for the Christian athletes. Why are they doing it here? Are all Christian athletes Christian that belong to that group? I have no way of knowing unless I went there and asked them all. And I'm not sure that all the people that join this group will be Christian in their actions. But that's not my thing to decide. It's my God's thing to decide. And I worship him, and I have faith in him, and I believe no matter what, people who want to stir up confusion. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. Look what's going on in Afghanistan and Iraq and all these places, because people can't have a common ground. Now, I wrote a speech, but I'm not going to say it because it would take too long. But I got very upset. And, you know, there are big five: the Hinduism, the Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. I serve the risen God, and he's in Christianity. I don't know anything about those other religions because I don't want to know anything about them. I know the one that saved me by dying on the cross of Calvary and rising again. And I want to serve him, and I believe I serve him by loving everybody. I don't think that you can be narrow and hateful and mean when you're dealing with people. You love people. Now, I want to say that I admire those of you who stood up here tonight and said about your sexual. I could not have done that had I been in your position. I'll be honest with you, I could not have done it. But I admire you for having done that. Now, the rest of you can make up your mind how you want to do this or whatever, but I just want you to know that God is watching you and your actions.